Welcome, welcome, welcome to another episode of Black Jewel Tarot. And tonight we're going to be discussing the Wheel of Fortune.
Welcome again. This is your producer, Nicole Haldane. Wanted to make sure to continue to remind you that bookings are open and available for recovery life coaching with Reverend Tiny. Information that you need to know in order to make your appointment is down in the description. All right, here we go. Jumping into our first segment. This week, we'll be talking about
the Wheel of Fortune, karma, destiny, taking chances, and living in that authenticity. It's about life. It's definitely about life. And when I think about the Wheel of Fortune, I think about how it turns, and sometimes we're on the upside and sometimes we're on the flip side. And when we're on the flip side, it's like, oh boy, it's bad luck, upheaval, chaos in our lives. And how are we going to navigate the delays? Also, the Wheel of Fortune is the number 10. And this is Uranus. And this is my favorite tarot deck. I always say that. So when we look at that, 10 is the number of wholeness and a unity. And 1 is the individual. And then the number 0, it goes for infinite. 0 is the number that adds on and stacks your money. 10, then we got 100, then we got 1,000. So I love the number 0 when I really learned about it and thought about how we don't take heed to it, but yet it's a placeholder. And so being a 10 is just being a placeholder as that wheel turns in positivity that I like to focus on, and how it affects my life with the Wheel of Fortune, and how I've seen the Wheel of Fortune change during my life, just in my life in general. And what it
let's talk about it.
let's
50
talk
years of hip hop and the craft epidemic and the trauma left behind. 3Ds, let's get it.
about these: no dick, no dope, no donuts.
Come
And
on.
that was my phrase that I coined, that it was my motto that I had to live by when I was full-fledged in addiction and coming out and having to find something to hold on to. So when I said no dick, no dope, no donuts, it was, this is what I'm not going to do to hold me to myself and be accountable for my relationships, my eating, and my drug use, right? So that's where 3Ds really comes from. I did AA, OA, SA, OA again, OA again, AA, SA, CA. And I did all of them several times, because it takes more than once to really master something and to get it. And I would say I never am a master, but to sink in that integral parts of my spirit where I wanted to change. And I just had to repeat the courses until I got it. And I'm still living in that karmic cycle where I'm on the upside of the Wheel of Fortune. And how I really relate to that is I changed my life. My Wheel of Fortune didn't change, right? It's not about how I fell. I fell many times, but I got up each time, whether I sought out religion or I sought out different recovery institutions, different academic institutions. I did them all, because for me, not one thing was just not it for me. I had to use many modalities to change my life, my trajectory of how I was living and where I wanted to go. And when we talk about the war that's waged on our people, it's scary. It's hard. It's devastating. Cocaine is a powerful drug. Anything's a powerful drug, because now it's sugar and salt that is like, girl, you don't quit drinking that coffee with all that sugar. And I'm like, oh, but I want my coffee.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I I think on a daily basis we don't really take heed to the toxicities that we take in. That is a part of our daily ritual. Like coffee is a ritual. I've been drinking coffee for years. And it's something as simple as that. I've gotten just comfortable with that. But okay, so back to the Wheel of Fortune and how it changed, getting out of that mindset that I was unworthy, that mindset that I couldn't do it, that mindset that I couldn't beat the monkey on my back. That changed when I started petitioning and lamenting from my heart to the Most High what I wanted and how I wanted my life to go, what I wanted for my children and my grandchildren. Like all of this plays a part because 7 generations back and 7 generations forward, we are in the present, and what we do in the present constitutes what moves forward. So my intention was, I was very intentional how I went through my recovery. I was very serious about my recovery because I wasn't going to live like that anymore. And I wanted a future for my grandchildren and my children. So that Wheel of Fortune changed for me June 2nd when I celebrated 13 years of recovery. Now, I do like beer, so I don't, I never was an alcoholic. I was never alcoholic. And so I have always had a problem with, don't drink alcohol. Some niggas need a drink. Like, get a nigga a drink. He gotta had a hard life. And we have to meet people where we are. So I'm not a recovery life coach that be like, don't do this and don't do that. You got to find you and do what you need to do for you to make that progress. And if you got a problem, you got to start somewhere. So somebody telling you what not to do don't work because can't nobody tell me shit. Like, it was when I wanted to change and when I wanted to do it, right? And I'm not mad. I'm all about being of support because people came in my life and supported me where I was at, not what they wanted me to be. And that's what being accepted and accepting the person. And that's why I like the AA program because it's a spiritual program. It's not religious, where religion is so dogmatic that you can't see your way out of it because you're praying to a God that don't like fornication and drinking. And like, who don't like to get some? Like, that don't even make sense. He made us with this urge to procreate. That's why that desire is put there. So I stopped beating myself up for that and embracing love and embracing the energy around it that is given to us and that we have naturally. And once I did that, all of these demons that I had on me about my behavior and how it was living, they started to just leave me because I came with a different perspective, a different light. And it was so helpful in my recovery when I just let go. And when we talk about let go and let God, sometimes we can't just let God, but when we just let go and allow that process by letting go. That's how my Wheel of Fortune changed for me. And now I'm here living my life on life's terms. And of course, life shows up, but I'm definitely on the upside of the Wheel of Fortune, not on the downside, right? And
Tell
that's what
me, tell me how the fool's journey aligns with that. I feel like I heard you say it, but I want you to be explicit about it. As you are on the fool's journey, arriving at the Wheel of Fortune, what does that mean for where you are in the journey, especially coming from previously, we were just in the hermit.
in the hermit mode. You're right about that, El. Thanks for bringing that up. Because in the hermit mode and being secluded and isolated and finding that meditative space to follow the light, that brings about the Wheel of Fortune because it's the fool's journey going in through these transitions and these archetypes that we have to meet to evolve. So during that process of the hermit, I could be explicit and say that part of my hermit mode was moving to Africa where I didn't communicate or wasn't in contact with my immediate family as much. My friends, relationships, was like, no, I'm doing me right now and I'm on a whole nother continent. And how that played out for me is being here, going soul searching, going in and now saying, my life has really changed. That Wheel of Fortune has really changed because I allowed that hermit to come in. I listened when things came up and when I was given homework. Because let me tell you, I'm in class, right? I'm in school. And it's not the school of hard knocks. I'm in school and homework, energetic homework, spiritual homework, personal homework. It allowed the Wheel of Fortune to turn in my behalf. And you know what we don't talk about all the times in these glyphs is the glyph for Yahweh. And that's all about spirit. That's all about spirit. The Wheel of Fortune is allowing that spirit to come, and you see these archetypes that are here, that those energies of the bull, the human, or an angel. Here, this is the African tarot, so it's a little bit different from the other tarot decks that we're used to seeing. And then, like on this one, it's Anubis, protection, and the bull, I forget his name. But it's these different energies, the wisdom, like the eagle was always wisdom, the man, and the bull being tenacity, having tenacity or brave. I want to say bravery, is that a word? But being brave, courageous, and the humanistic part and the spirit. All of these things are encompassed in this, in the spirit, and that wheel turning. And also the wheel can be likened to our chakra system, these energy systems that we have as well. And that's a part of our spirit. And it says destiny. If if you're lacking energy in your chakra system, you're going to be at lack. But once that is lifted with energy work and it starts to turn and you start to move, and it's about movement. When you see the chariot or you see a wheel, it's about progression. And so in that fool's journey, yeah, it did change. It's constantly moving now. Whatever areas that I was lacking before, I'm not lacking in now. It's coming together, moving forward. Definitely. Did that answer your question? Or you want me to elaborate more?
No, that's perfect. And honestly, I feel like I'd love to just do the advertisement for your tarot reading and close us out. Is there any other things that you want to say?
When you got a mission, yeah, there is. When you got a mission and you see that inside of that spirit, that center, that zero, is hit your target, and don't let nothing sway you from your target. That's what life's about, making goals, intentions, and meeting the mark. And nothing beats a fail but a try. So try harder, whatever we got to do. And that's where I'm at on the upside of the Wheel of Fortune. Close us out.
All right, then. Come on, Wheel of Fortune. That was a beautiful lesson in it. I mean, it pertains to an entire perspective shift of life. And it takes a level of reflection as you're going through the fool's journey. When you arrive from the hermit state into the Wheel of Fortune, you're coming from a place of reflecting into a space of, again, as you named, those tides turning and those wheels changing. And so we learned a lot today, as we do every week in our podcast, 3D'S with Reverend Tiny. I want you all to make sure that you go ahead and book your tarot reading if you want to know more information about tarot, what we talked about today, or if you want to dive deeper into some of the lessons that you may need to learn or need to know. All of the information that you need will be in the description below. Again, the link for booking your appointment will be in the description below. All right, take us out.
Thank you.